Okay, so I'm like, YouTube was still asking me some questions. But anyway, I am going live for the first time on the Harris Tech Pivot, checking it out, seeing how it goes. But I'm actually coming on just to talk really about a lot of the common questions that I get asked in terms of the pivot into tech and what's all involved. And let me get this off so I can hear. One of the biggest questions is kind of surrounded around like what boot camp that I took and what how was the process getting into the job and how is it now being a year and some change in. And so I'll start with one of the questions is how'd you get in? Okay, so I took a boot camp course careers. I took the tech sales, which was very user friendly. It had live videos, live kind of quizzes at the end of each section of learning. Um, it had downloadable PDFs to get you kind of doubling down on some of the stuff that you're learning. The biggest takeaway for me was really in the tech terminology section of things and also the three books that we read. So the three books that we read were Spin Selling and How to Win Friends and Influence People and Fanatical Prospecting, which was my favorite, Fanatical Prospecting. It's just very visual and less textbooky with real life examples, which is what I like. And then the quiz came after kind of each globe of parts of the book or globe part of the news section. It did things from looking at Salesforce, looking at HubSpot, which are like some of the most common CRMs. It even looked at sales engagement platforms like SalesLoft, Zoom Info. It told you how to like download Apollo onto your LinkedIn. They told you how to optimize your LinkedIn and start getting kind of active on LinkedIn, updating your, experience section that should mirror your resume, even to the look of it, all the stuff to put on it, start connecting with people, trying to get above 500 connections before you start your like job search process. But then it went further in the Discord part where you can talk with people who are alumni who are already in the role. In the Discord, there were things like they put job opportunities in the Discord, as well as hopping on one on ones to prepare for the interview. So that brings me to two. The number two question that I get asked a lot is what are the questions for interviews? What are the questions for interviews? One of the top ones that most people work on is tell me a little bit about yourself. That is the most asked question in the interview process, and there's many different, I guess, ways
There's
that people. My dog is going crazy. Down, Teddy. Down, down. There's many different ways that people approach the tell me about yourself. But in general, across the board, I think people would agree that to stay more story based and not just kind of like reading off your resume. People have different views about going chronologically or starting at the now and kind of working your way backwards. But a lot of people tend to stick with the where you're talking about like situation, you're talking about the task that you did, that you actioned on, and then what was the outcome of that when answering all questions in the interview process. But to tell me about yourself, it could have some of what you've contributed or your value prop to the stuff on your resume, but also giving some insight on what's not on your resume. personality wise, or using some of your like transferable skills into um into the resume portion of it. One person once told me, you want to lean in, you want them to lean in when you're talking. And then another quick tip is to answer a question and then ask a question, and that keeps it kind of conversational, and makes for just a more relaxed interview process, and it kind of keeps you sort of in control of what's going on. And then some tools and tips that will help you prep. Excuse me, it's like the middle of the day here. That will help you prep for the interview would be knowing about the product that the company does, mission, vision of the company, maybe looking at some blog posts, some news articles, maybe if the CEO or CFO or somebody posted recently about some upcoming news or something like that. Those are all great things to know, because another question you will always usually always be asked is why this company, or what do you know about the company already. So those are the kind of things that you can use to prep you for it. A great a great website to help you prep and stay organized is hunter. It's either hunter.io or hunter.co. So just try both. And the hunter is like TR, not like not like the way you spell hunter. And that keeps you organized with what jobs you've applied to, the interview process where you're at all the jobs. Because once you start applying, you could start getting a lot of interview request. And so you want to kind of stay on top of it and organize, so you don't become overwhelmed that way, especially if you're someone who's nervous about it anyway. The more organized and prepped you can be, the less the nerves will take over in the interview process, especially for people who are like pivoting and haven't really been in the interview scene in a very, very long time. Stay ready so you don't have to get ready, is what they always say. And then the third one that I wanted to talk about today in the live that I get asked a lot is, when you get in the job, what are the biggest things to overcome? So when you're in a place like Course Careers, like you're coming straight from a boot camp or straight from somewhere else, it's really good to get acclimated with the tech stack that they would be using. So that's definitely a question to ask in your interviews. So things like getting familiar and playing around with like the free version of Salesforce, the free version of HubSpot, being able to just maneuver in and out of it. You don't always know what sales engagement platform they're going to be using. But at least if you know how to go through checking an account, checking if there's opportunities, seeing when the last activity is, like just normal day in, day out things that you would have to do in the role, that would be very helpful in the job, when you're in the job. Because most of the onboarding usually is surrounded around product, mission, vision. Sometimes they'll go into, when you go into your actual department, handling objections. What are the most common objections? How do you overcome those objections? How do you take the pain points of the person you're talking to and relate it to whatever the different products are? The different titles that you talk to, is that the same kind of talk track? Is that the same kind of products? Like in my current job, different titles, I'm focusing on different products. So all those kind of things is the learning curve of once you get in the position. Hybrid is where I started, which now looking back was a blessing, because I'm coming into a brand new career in tech, a brand new vertical that I knew nothing about. As coming off of a long career in entertainment, teaching, and acting scene. So it was good to be in office some of the days where I could talk to people who are already there before me. If I had a question, I could literally just look over my shoulder and not have to like hop on a whole Zoom, that I would have to do in my current job. But I am loving fully remote as my second job. And lastly, I will close with the trajectory in tech seems to be a lot faster, especially if you're grasping the concepts and becoming like a rock star in the field. I've seen people scale base salary wise, commission wise, title wise, fairly quickly than some of the more traditional arenas that I've been in the past. And so it's good if you decide to switch over to have some sort of idea of where you want to go past where you're landing. So that you can kind of map that out and see what you want to do in the job. Oh, you're welcome. If you have any questions, just type them in here and I'll answer them. But these were like the most common questions that I get asked about transitioning into tech sales, transitioning into tech, period. Um, Ways to get, no problem, ways to get kind of in the room or get networking up, especially when you are maybe going into a different field. There's loads of conferences on LinkedIn or just a Google search. There's loads of conferences or mixers. Start going to those, not only to just network and build up like your own pipeline, but start knowing who's searching for things. What's hot and new in terms of on the job hunting. Oh shoot, it says my list of. Oh, I missed the question. I don't know how to. Okay, let me see. I'm trying to see how I can see that question in this live. Oh, my last name is Harris too, and I finished my exam today. Oh, come on, Harris. Come on, Harris. Finish your exam today. Yeah, so if you finish your exam today, I know some people start applying for jobs before they even finish the exam. So yeah, use this weekend or use this week, or I don't know if you have a regular job as you're taking the course. Carve out like an hour for yourself a day where you're just doing the job to get the job, meaning it's not enough anymore to just apply to the job. It's not enough anymore to just hit that quick apply on LinkedIn. You really have to join things like vidyard.com and make a like mini version of tell me about yourself that you can then send right after you apply to maybe two or three titles in the company. So you go on the company page in LinkedIn, maybe hit up the VP of sales, maybe hit up a AE or two because they might have what do you call it? Those type recruiting incentives where they can get like paid out for bringing someone on that gets hired. So have like a virtual coffee chat with a few people in the company that you apply to, and then organically, see if they do have referral programs and if they can refer you, just to make sure that your application is at least getting seen and getting past those like bot replies that are like, we're going in a different direction, like you don't even get to speak to anybody. So at least to get you to that first round interview. And then it's like kind of on you. But beforehand, it's kind of just like, who do I know kind of game, networking kind of game, doing more than the application. If you're interested in some changing your resume to fit each job and you don't want to like put it all in ChatGPT and wait for the output to come out, there's a site called earnbetter.com, which you can upload your cover letter and you can upload your resume, and then you can put in the job title into earnbetter.com, and it will kind of add some SEO and some like keywords from the job description into your resume and into your cover letter. So that's a great way if you're trying to make it a little more personal for each job that you're applying to, and you don't want to be on the struggle bus of trying to like actually redo your whole resume to fit each job. Like, utilize these tools. AI is not the future, it's now. So you might as well start using it to help the processes be just a lot faster and the turnaround to be a lot quicker. So that was my first live. Woohoo, I did it. I did it. I just answered a few questions that I get asked a lot. I'll try to do some more lives and also some more interviews with some people who are in tech, to be announced coming up. but just getting the first live out of my system. Thanks for watching. Thanks for asking a question. Thanks for saying thank you. And share this video if you think you got some other people who could use a few of the tips that I answered today. See you all on the next one. Follow and subscribe.